Hey guys, I hope you're doing well. I just wanted to do a quick follow-up video to my previous video on the Mini 2, as we now know what the confirmed specs are, as DJI has actually officially released this drone now. We did get a lot of information out of those leaks, especially from our beatific world, but there's a few things I want to talk about that maybe weren't actually in the final drone, and some things that were included that I wasn't actually expecting to be included, which is great. So let's get into it. So I want to share with you what, in my opinion, is the most exciting new feature about the Mini 2. And it's not the 4K, it's not the OcuSync 2.0, which I think a lot of people will be excited about. It's actually the raw photography for me. I think that's a really cool feature that I didn't expect DJI to actually include in this drone. As it is a consumer level drone, having the ability to shoot raw photos is pretty cool. And it gives you a lot more flexibility in your workflow when you go to edit those photos. In my experience with the original Mavic Mini, because you're just shooting in JPEGs, the JPEG quality is just not good enough. When you actually go to edit the photos, all the colors would kind of fall apart on me. So to have the ability to kind of shoot raw, get all that information, that extra information in those photos, and then play about with the colors, play about with the highlights, the shadows, and get it to just how you like it or you want it to look, is gonna be a really nice feature. And yeah, I just didn't expect DJI to actually include that in the Mini 2. So that was something that I was really pleased to see included in that, which means they'll probably be doing that going forward with all their consumer drones, which is good to know. Another feature that I didn't actually talk about in my previous video that was rumored was the follow me feature. People thought that you'd basically, whoever had your phone, you could get the drone to follow you and it would follow behind you wherever you're, based on GPS, the GPS signal of your phone. Now we have the confirmed specs. It doesn't look like this is an included feature, and I'm not really surprised, to be honest. I think if DJI included this feature on the Mini 2, which we now know definitely doesn't have any front or back obstacle avoidance sensors, or on the sides either, you would get a lot of people crashing their drones into trees, into obstacles, into buildings, because they'd probably be pushing this feature to the limit and, you know, taking advantage of this, where there's nothing to stop the Mavic Mini from just flying into something and then crashing and breaking. So I'm not really surprised that DJI didn't include this, but it's good to just note that that isn't included and that isn't a feature in this new drone. Another thing, we have a new quick shot. So obviously we had the 4 quick shots in the original Mavic Mini, the Droney, the Helix, the Circle, and the Rocket. And this time they've included a new one called Boomerang, which is always nice to have a new quick shot. One thing to note is that the quick shots are still going to be 1080p only, so it's not going to be taking advantage of that 4K sensor, as it didn't take advantage of the 2.7K in the original Mavic Mini, which is kind of disappointing. But to be honest, for the people who are going to be using the quick shots, I think no one's going to care if it's just 1080p. They're probably going to be posting quick shots on social media, things like that, where it doesn't really matter, especially if it's, you know, in something like Instagram. It's just going to wreck your footage anyway, so it doesn't really matter. A really nice new feature that DJI have included in the Mini 2 is the ability to digitally zoom into your shot. So in 4K you can zoom up to 2 times, 2.7K you can zoom up to 3 times, and 1080p you can zoom up to 4 times. And this is clear zoom, so it's, you know, you're not losing any resolution, and it's basically doing it by using the full resolution of the sensor to zoom in and keep those pixels, the right number of pixels for 4K, for 2.7K and 1080p, and that's why you can zoom a bit more within the lower resolution 1080p modes. So that's really nice. I think that's going to be one of the more underrated features. I think it's something that people get quite a lot of use out of, especially if you've got a wide vista and you want to kind of zoom in, get a bit more detail. You can now do that, which is great. The final feature I want to talk about is OcuSync 2.0 and the increased range. So obviously DJI says that you can get up to 10 kilometers range with this drone, but in European countries, you're going to be able to get up to 6 kilometers rather than 10 kilometers. And this is due to the regulations in the European Union, limiting that really, which is expected. It's the same, it was the same with the Mavic Mini, the original Mavic Mini. It had a reduced range within the EU countries, but I think 6 kilometers is probably more than enough. And to be fair, if you're flying in the UK, you're meant to be line of sight for your drone anyway. You're meant to be able to see it. And you really can't go that far with the tiny Mavic Mini before you can't really see it. So I think that's everything I really wanted to discuss in this video. As I said, it was going to be a short video, just a quick update based on, you know, the extra things that we've learned since my last video. If you do want to check out that last video, I discussed quite a few things I didn't discuss in this video, such as whether I'm going to buy this drone and a few different features that weren't covered in this video. So feel free to check that video out. I'll link it up here, wherever it is, and you can have a watch of that. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you as part of our little community. And we talk about tech on this channel, we talk about camera gear, I do some cinematic reels, and of course there's loads of drone footage that I've already brought out and I'm going to be continuing to bring out. So if you like that kind of stuff, then please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that notification bell if you want to be the first to know about new videos that come out as they come out. And if you did like this video, then please hit that like button. It does really help out the channel, so I'd really appreciate that. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So cheers.